Joining us now in Studio B, Uncle B, Blaine Fowler, dual threat BYUtv specialist, breaking down football and basketball. Blaine, nice to have you back in studio. We've got the crossover going, man, with football and basketball. So let's start with hoops.
That time of year where we doing both. I love that.
What do you think of BYU being picked to finish third in the West Coast Conference by the coaches?
I understand it because Gonzaga, until somebody knocks them off of their throne, then you put them first on your ballot every single year. I would. If I'm voting the league, Gonzaga's number one, no question. Just because it doesn't matter who grads. Everybody goes, well, Sabonis has gone to the NBA. Wilcher's gone to the NBA. How are they going to fill that void? Well, they do it every year. So you just have to assume they're going to do it. And as you mentioned a little earlier, they have some transfers. They're going to have a big impact. They still have Karnowski back. So I would put them one on my ballot. And then St. Mary's is getting a lot of credit because they were really good last year and everybody's back. So my question on St. Mary's, I would still put them two. I would have put them exactly the way the coaches did. Now, do I think BYU can sneak up and beat St. Mary's? Is there a chance they can beat Gonzaga? I think there is. St. Mary's, the question for me is, how do they play as a front runner now? Because last year they snuck up on people the first round around the conference, and they played with a chip on their shoulder. We got to be this great team. We got to play with no stars. We have to be unselfish because nobody believes in us. They're not sneaking up on anybody this year. They're preseason, they're ranked. So now, Randy's a great coach, but can he manage the egos? Are players going to get selfish? Are they going to play with that chip on their shoulder the way they did last year? That I don't know, and that's a big question. Certainly they're talented, but they're going to get everybody's best shot this year, just like they did when they had Dellavedova in that group.
Yeah, they're going to go into games at the beginning of the year as a ranked team. You're asking about getting people's best games. They're going to be number 17 on the scoreboard.
The Zags are used to that every year. They're used to playing with a target on them every year, and they thrive on it. Can St. Mary's do that? I don't know. We're going to see if they can. And then for BYU, I've seen them now in the blue and white game, and we just did the exhibition game against Seattle Pacific. And offensively, I think they're going to be really good. They're really gifted. They have a lot of guys that can score. And they have guys that are hurt right now that are going to come back that can score. So that's not a question. I didn't think that was a question coming in. And now they even have pieces I didn't know that much about, like in Leifson and Bayo. They have people that can shoot all over the floor. They have bigs that can score. This offense is going to be a little different this year. It's not going to be a perimeter offense. It's going to be an inside-out offense. They're still going to shoot a lot of shots from outside. But instead of shots off the dribble, when you're shooting a three off the dribble, you're usually going laterally, and then you got to not only elevate for your jump shot, you got to square up and knock down shots. You're not going to knock down as high a percentage as you are when you're getting in transition, running toward the basket, or when the ball goes inside and is kicked outside, and then even if when you swing it, you're in a ready position to shoot threes. They should shoot a higher percentage this year from outside because they're going to be better inside and they're going to get more post touches with a presence in there. All of that I've seen in the first two games. That's going to happen. Question is, can the big guys stay on the floor without fouls?
Yeah, stay out of foul trouble.
Can they defend inside? And
lead!
And exactly. And then on the perimeter, part of the issue inside is they got to defend better outside. And certainly they have guys capable of defending out there from a physical standpoint. Do they have enough lateral quickness to stay in front of people? I think they do, especially when they get the injured guys back, with Elijah coming back and LJ coming back. They have guys that can defend. The question is, do they want to? Because defense on the perimeter is a mentality. So Jackson Emery, that guy just wanted to shut people down.
Yes.
He had a mentality that I will physically work like crazy in a ball game because I am going to shut people down. Now, he was unbelievably physically gifted. Great lateral quickness, great anticipation, fantastic hands, all of that. There are guys on this team with enough lateral quickness to be good perimeter defenders, but so far I haven't seen it. And when they get beat off the dribble and teams spread them out, which St. Mary's does, and then they attack, now the bigs in the two games that we've seen, they haven't been quick enough to get into the rotation, so they're late, and when you get there late, you foul. And so that's my big question for this team, an exhibition game and a blue and white game into it. I think they're capable, but if they are going to finish one or two, they're going to have to be much better defensively. If they're not, they'll just go out and score everybody else in the league, and they'll finish three.
How would you feel? Okay, so difference between like understanding why BYU is picked to finish third, but let's say all is said and done and BYU does end up finishing third in league. How would that make you feel as a supporter of BYU athletics?
I would be okay with it because I recognize how young they are. I'd be a little disappointed because I think there's enough talent on this team that if they make up their minds that they want to defend, that there's any reason why they can't finish at least second in this league.
See, I'm exactly there with you.
But to me, this is a mindset. They have to make a conscious decision that they're going to buy into what the coaches are teaching, and they are going to play defense. Because to win games on the road, there's sometimes you're not going to shoot the ball well. And you talk about those ones once in a while where they go out and you go, wait a minute, why are they losing to Pepperdine on the road? Why are they losing to Portland on the weekend after they beat Gonzaga on a Thursday night? So I think their depth is better, so they're going to be better on the weekends this year. And I think that's a big emphasis for Dave this year, is to be better on the weekends. But when you go on the road and the shots aren't falling from outside, you have to be able to shut people down and win ugly. They did it a couple times last year, but they've got to do it consistently if they want to finish in the top 2. And if you finish in the top 2 in this league this year, you're going to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I agree with Spencer on that. And so I would be disappointed. I would understand because of the youth, but I'd be disappointed if these guys don't take it on themselves and say, we're going to be good defensively. And they don't have to be great defensively because they're so skilled offensively. They just need to be good defensively. And I think that this is a team that can then go contest for that number 2 spot. And maybe, you don't know about injuries and all those things with Gonzaga, and maybe they don't gel. They got a ton of talent on that team. Do they gel? We'll see. So if you want to be in that top 2, got to defend.
You know what Gonzaga doesn't have? A football team.
Yes,
BYU
that is true. That is true.
I went to try and find it, and I saw a couple guys playing catch. Was it 2 years ago? I was like, hey,
do they have
are.
flag intramural?
I don't even know if they have that.
I don't know if they're very good at it. I don't know.
The same intramural, brother. Yeah. BYU Idaho has tackle football. Gonzaga does not.
Wow.
Is it 5-0, including the bowl game, or bust for BYU football, trying to get to 9?
I think that's their mentality. To me, if they lost one along the way, again, there's just like basketball team. I'd be really disappointed because I think they're poised right now to go on a run. And if they play a really good team in the bowl game and they were to lose in that one, I'd probably be all right with that. We said last January, if they got to 8 wins this season with this schedule, with a new offense and a new defense, that we'd be okay with that. So I'm not going to change my course on that. I'm still going to be okay with it. But now knowing where they've been and how close they've been to really talented teams and looking at this team as a whole, I believe they can win out. And certainly with the 4 teams they're going to play, Cincinnati, to me, a couple weeks ago, when they went out against East Carolina and looked really good on offense again, I was thinking, oh, you know what? At Cincinnati could be tough. But they just got hammered by Temple. In the second half of that football game, even with Gunner at quarterback, because they've had quarterback struggles. Even with Gunner at quarterback, they had 11 yards of total offense in the second half.
Whoa.
Temple's pretty solid defensively, but they're not that solid.
Down.
It was. They had 1 completion on a screen pass for -3 yards. They threw for -3 yards in the second half. So now I'm going, okay, BYU defensively is every bit as good or better than Temple. They should shut this team down. I do think we're going to see a Cincinnati team that's going to go, we got nothing to lose now.
And that's
let's run double reverse passes. Yeah. Let's get 5 receivers in the route. Let's take some chances. So for BYU, they've got to make sure they don't give up big plays. But if they don't give up big plays, now that game's not looking as daunting as I thought it was a couple of weeks ago. And so my feeling is they should win out in the regular season. If they play their game and don't turn it over, they should win out and go into a bowl game with a lot of momentum. And I feel like 5 in a row to finish the season is definitely in their sights and should happen.
Let's just say, for fun, and we asked this to Trevor Maddich yesterday as well, too, on his opinion of this. Let's just say BYU does go 5-0 to finish, and they play a team like Boise State or San Diego State, a 10-win team in the Poinsettia Bowl. BYU gets a big win to finish against a good team, a lot of eyeballs. 9-4 with the 4 games they've lost by a combined 8 points and a strong finish. Are they in the top 25?
I think there's a really good chance they slip in at 24 or 25, especially if San Diego State and Boise State keep winning. Boise State, they had that loss this last week, which was, I guess,
safety dance.
Yeah, the way that thing is hilarious. The safety dance. The way they won that, the way Wyoming won that game was amazing. People that I know in the league in Mountain West that I talked to, they said, "Oh no, you wait. Wyoming is really good defensively. They're better than anybody's given them credit for. They can win at home against this team." And I just kept going, no, that's not going to happen.
They were a 14.5 point underdog at home.
That's defense, right?
Right.
Defense keeps you in ball games.
Right.
And so I was surprised by that. So that tarnishes Boise State a little bit. But if they win out now, with one loss going into a bowl game, they'll be ranked, and if BYU can beat a ranked team, and San Diego State, they're one of the best defensive teams in the country. Now, what do I think's going to happen? Remember when we had Ted Tollner here earlier in the year? Ted's, he's on that committee. In fact, he might be the chairman.
He's the executive director.
Yeah, executive director. Yeah. I really believe the bowl committee would like to have a San Diego State BYU matchup for old time's sake. And you know what? San Diego State's really good. Yeah. And I think people respect them nationally because they're so good defensively this year. And so I don't think they have to play Boise State to get ranked. I think San Diego State wins out and they're in that Poinsettia Bowl. It's a good win against them. And that would be a fun matchup.
Yeah, I agree with you. San Diego State is receiving votes.
Absolutely. I'm looking right now.
So if they keep doing their thing and win the, Pacific Division of the Mountain West, that could be interesting. Because Boise State might be in Vegas, might be in another bowl. You have to win your division and then win the conference championship to be a Group of 5 representative.
Right.
So Boise State's probably out.
Yeah, San Diego State is only 3 out of the top 25 right now.
And they're not going to play
anybody. Who has the inside track for that Group of 5 right now? It's probably Central Michigan or Western Michigan. I can't remember Central.
They need to win the
Western
next 4.
Michigan.
They play tonight, by the way.
Yeah, I know. They have the inside track on that right now. They do. But Boise State has an outside shot still if they win the whole thing, so they could still get there. But it's a long shot for them now because that loss to Wyoming. So we'll see on that one. But hey, 5 in a row is not out of the question for BYU. In fact, I'm kind of expecting it right now.
I do too, Blaine.
And if they do, there's so many teams. The college football is interesting this year. There's teams that are losing. There's 3 lost teams in the top 25 right now. And teams are losing. The Pac-12, I think, is down a little bit. I think at the top it's really good, but it's down. Big Ten is really good this year. The SEC at the bottom is down this year. So there's enough of the big leagues that are down on the bottom end of the league that I think BYU has an outside chance that they could be ranked if they win out right now, based on how close they've been on losses against good football teams.
It'd be nice to see BYU with a little number 25 next to that name for the first time in 5 years to end the season.
It would be great.
It's been a long time.
5 years.
I know,
Hey,
right?
but no, you know what? Don't just win.
Season,
don't just win right now. Win impressively right now.
That'd be fun.
Yes.
So dominate the next 4 games and go into a bowl game and dominate a good team. That's how you get your shot to be ranked.
Now we're feeling great about 2016.
Yep.
Blaine, fantastic stuff. You
Thanks,
can watch
guys.
more of Uncle B on After Further Review tonight, 7 Eastern, 5 Mountain Time. Up